Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman. I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. So in preparation for season 3 of Top Boy, which will premiere on Netflix in September, I'm going to review the first 2 seasons of the Netflix produced Top Boy series. I'm going to say what I liked about each season, I'm going to say what I didn't really like about each season, then I'm going to say whether I think you should see the season or just skip it. At any point, feel free to click the notification bell or subscribe to my channel for more content. So, without further ado, let's begin. Of the Netflix produced Top Boy series starts about 5 years after the end of Top Boy Summer House season 2. We know this because Sully says something to the effect of this thing that happened in season 2. Well, that was 5 years ago. And so when we start season 1 of Top Boy, we see that Sully and Deshane are in wildly different places than they were in Top Boy Summer House season 2. They're in worse situations, and they're basically trying to essentially survive in the situations they find themselves in. All right, so the next thing I'm going to say could be a bit of a spoiler for Top Boy season 1. So you want to, if you don't want to know anything really about the plot at all, go ahead and click off right now. All right, you've been warned. All right, so you also have the introduction of a new character named Jamie. Now, Jamie is a new competitor to Deshane and Sully to some extent for the Top Boy mantle. And so this brings me to the first thing I really loved about season 1 of Top Boy. They do an amazing job setting up Jamie's character, or who Jamie is. So the thing about Jamie is we get to see Jamie, we get to know his background. So as I mentioned, he was a young guy who grew up in these summer house estates. He knows about Deshane. You could say he probably respected Deshane back in the day, again, those 5 years previous, to the point where he wouldn't be a guy who would want to cross Deshane. So, we see his background. He has lost his parents. He has these 2 brothers he's taken care of. And so we really end up liking Jamie initially because we see that he's a very responsible guy, aside from the drug pushing and the murder. And, speaking of murder, he does some things early on that really sets him up as a kind of cold-blooded character. And this is great because we know that if he is currently the top boy in the Summer House projects at this time, and we know Deshane and Sully are out there, they're going to have to clash, and they do. And so that setup really sets the stage for the tension that really dominates the last part of this first season of Top Boy. And just one other thing I wanted to mention about kind of the setup of Jamie and with the 2 brothers. So the 2 brothers are innocents, meaning that they're not part of the drug game. They're not really, out in part of this life. They're studious. They're good kids. And so that increases the stakes. So when, again, they eventually, Jamie and Deshane and Sully clash, that these 2 boys are in jeopardy. And that you don't want to see. I mean, again, you get to know them. You see how good kids they are. So you don't want anything to happen to them. But of course, when you have 2 forces clashing like that, there's always a possibility. And they do a similar thing with Deshane and Sully, and Sully as well. They give them connections that you didn't necessarily know about in the Summer House series. And so again, if something happens to them, or let's say a group or force is trying to get at them, they have these innocents here who could be hurt. And so again, it increases the stakes. So even if you don't care anything for Sully or Deshane or even Jamie, you care about the people around them who had nothing to do with this conflict. And so the fact that they're there, that they're at risk, really kind of increases the tension, increases the stakes for this season. And so the second thing I wanted to say that I liked about the series are the performances by Micheal Ward, as well as Ashley Walters, who plays Deshane, and in particular, Kane Robinson, or Kano, who plays Sully. Now, in this season, Sully is really put through the ringer. I didn't really care for Sully that much in Summer House, but in this season, I really see the range of emotions that Sully can have, which really comes from the performance of Kane Robinson. There are several things that happens with Sully throughout the season. We can see really the humanity of this person. The fact that in a different world, they would not have been in this situation, and they would be very different people. And so, because of the circumstances that happened to Sully, Sully is this hardened gangster person who will and can murder people. But they still also get to see the softer, good side of Sully. In particular, you see almost like the father in Sully. That Sully, in the right circumstances, would be an amazing father. And Ashley Waters as the Shane is really good as well. Now, one thing I don't know is if he has a great range as an actor. So definitely, I would say Kane Robinson does. In that, even just from Summer House to this series, and then even throughout this one season, we see a big change in Sully. Duchesne, not so much. We do see Duchesne in a different circumstance at the beginning of the season, but in regards to how he acts and how the kind of performance that we get from Ashley Walters, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what range he has. I don't know if he's basically playing himself, or if there is if he's making specific choices about this character that we're not seeing. So I realize I have Ashley Waters written on my script, so I can't. So I have to look at old videos. Am I saying Ashley Walters or Ashley Waters? His name is Ashley Walters. So if I said it Waters in the past, it's just because I have it written down wrong up here. So what didn't I like about this season? Well, the big thing I didn't like about this season, I felt it was too long. Those first two seasons that ran on the BBC, there were 4 episodes each. And I think that was the perfect length because you want to introduce the characters, build attention, and then have the payoff at the end. With this one, they have early on a lot of action, a lot of violence, a lot of, what you come to watch the show for. And it kind of builds up and builds up and builds up. And then in the middle and just throughout, there's like these lulls. And to me, it's like you rip the lulls out and it's a much more exciting series. And so you see season 1 of Top Boy on Netflix or just skip it. And I would say see it. It's not a bad show. The first season of Top Boy Summer House was kind of like, eh. I probably would have came back and watched season 2 had I saw it in the original when it first came out, just because I would be curious what happened with the characters. But the season itself wasn't great, and season 2 I liked. And so this one is similar to season 2. They learned the mistakes from season 1, but they still have they had too much filler, too much of the ancillary stuff in this season, so it slowed down a lot of it. But it had a lot of action, and one of the things with season 2 of Summer House and this one is, it's a lot of guns. You think about The Wire, and there's a lot of guns. America, land of the gun. England, not so much, but they definitely, have the gangster, the connect, and all that stuff there. And then, again, you have each of these main characters are capable of doing significant violence. And they show against Jamie, they show Duchesne, they show Sully. So, yeah, these are dangerous people. And so this is an interesting, compelling show. Now, I will say, there is the argument that, this is glorifying violence, glorifying black pain. And I don't know, to me, it's more so, I think about Game of Thrones, and it's chess. And there's literally, not literally, but there's definitely intellectual chess going on between Jamie and Duchesne in particular. And you got Sully there. Sully's the knight. Sully's the guy who is going to get stuff done for you. He's the enforcer. And Jamie doesn't really have that. He's kind of that for himself as well. But overall, see season 1 of Top Boy. And I'm excited about season 2 because I'm assuming they're going to build from where we left off in season 1 of Top Boy and kind of keep going with this story. And one thing about, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but one thing about the very end of that season, I feel like Duchesne made a mistake. If you see the last scene of the last episode, I think he really made a mistake in what he did, and that could ultimately be his undoing. But again, we have 2 more seasons at least to see what happens, and some of y'all may have seen season 2 already. No worries. I'm interested to see if that move he makes at the very end of season 1 is ultimately a mistake. But if you found that review interesting and or informative, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if there are other Black British shows you would like me to review, please leave those suggestions in the comment section below. Thank you all for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.